All right, here we go. TK Kirkland, welcome back to VladTV.
VladTV.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up, Vlad? Out here changing the world as
Yes,
we
sir.
know it.
Yes, sir. This is how we're doing
Yes,
it, man.
sir.
One of
Yes,
my
sir.
favorite regular guests, man, back on here one more time.
Yes, sir. I
One more
respect it. I
time.
love it. And I'm glad to be here as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we really can't get started until we talk about AJ Johnson,
Yes.
who recently passed, who you know.
Yes.
I remember we did a previous interview. We just did a flashback on it where you talked about how he got to start heckling other comedians.
Yes.
That's how he actually got his start.
Right.
And from there,
he was so good that, like I said, people will come to the show to see him heckle people on the stage. And that propelled him into doing stand-up comedy. And what I've seen from the AJ Johnsons to the Michael Williams to all celebrities in this game, and what I want to share with the world is no matter if you get that 15 minutes of fame, ladies and gentlemen, the goal in life is to remember you're a man and you're a woman. And what that means is don't let fame take you out the lane of being responsible, being accountable for your life, because it's all make-believe. It doesn't exist. All this, you thinking people love you, you thinking that you so popular, you got pride, you don't want to work a regular job. At the end of the day, you are a man and a woman. You got to handle your responsibility. And then we go deeper. Men who move in with women because you lied to her and told her you sold her the dream that you was gonna be successful, but you ain't paying no bills around. You done lost homes and she done lost cars because she believed in you. Come on, fellas. I've been talking about AJ, I've been talking about life insurance, I've been talking about burial insurance for years. Today I'm talking to you about being a man. Step your game up and work and take care of yourself. And then when we talk about the insurance, listen, for years, and Vlad will tell you this, I've been telling you guys about life insurance.
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make it easy for y'all. If you can't get life insurance, get burial insurance. Do not put your loved one in a position to do GoFundMe, to ask for a handout. And the persons who even ask for a handout, that person should even be embarrassed asking to help as well, because it goes to show you, well, it goes to tell you this: your bad planning should not be my emergency. Remember we did that years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Your bad planning should not be my, but I'm in a good mood today. And to people all over the world, what you don't know is that there's grants when you die in your city that you can reach out to this information I'm about to give you and get people, the state, to pay for your burial and your life insurance. And I had my team, Barry Stewart, put this together. And basically what it is, it says, there's really no reason why anyone should struggling right now. Cities have food, rent, and energy, and surplus of jobs. Many programs are over the country in every state offer free trade certifications and everything. I will attach all this information. So this is what you have: COVID-19 funeral assistance, FEMA.gov. They pay for your stuff. Health for the entertainment community, COVID-19 Emergency Relief Actors Fund. They pay for funeral and burial assistance.
Okay.
In the LA County, LA County has a relief support. Here is the link: LA COVID-19 Relief Fund is lacovidfund.org. They will pay for your stuff for free. Come on, people. I've been telling you about from the PPP loans, SBA loans. There are opportunities out here for everybody to get things done that you don't have to put yourself in an embarrassing situation. You just got to do your research.
Well, yeah. I mean, when AJ died, his wife started a GoFundMe.
Yes.
And then I remember she did a video complaining
Yes.
that the GoFundMe wasn't being supported.
Yes.
Now, after she did that, we actually saw the GoFundMe jump up. I think it's at like 40,000 now.
Yes.
The goal was 20,000.
Okay.
You know, Lil Rel, he donated like 4,000.
Right. That was nice of him.
Very nice of him.
Right.
And other people donated as well. But yeah, I mean, it was a little sad to see one of our heroes that we love to see on the screen, from Ezel to,
Yes.
and Friday to the Players Club to I Got the Hookup, his family having to go forward and ask for donations in
Yes.
order to bury him.
Yes. And what people need to understand, you're going to die. I'm tired of this denial shit. You're going to fucking die. And I dealt with death at a young age, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what I came up with, Thinkology. Every time, I want you to remember this every time after this interview, every time somebody dies, you're supposed to get your act in order. It's a reminder to let you know one day this is going to be you. And do you have your house in order? And what I mean by have your house in order, you have your life insurance, your burial insurance. Do you have a will? Do you have an estate? Do you have all these things together? Because nobody cares, ladies and gentlemen. When you drive through LA and different parts of the country, people on the street, under the highway, intense. Yeah. This is not a game. And all you have to do is just dig deep down and put your pride to the side. Go get a job. If you're in love with a woman, y'all work it out together, or stay by yourself so you don't lose everything in a divorce or a girlfriend. But I just want y'all to win. And this is gonna be my last thing saying on this. AJ, I've always loved you as a brother. To the family, friends, I hope that you guys got what you wanted. But to the future deaths in this world, there are programs, just research it, that will pay for your burial and funeral expenses.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you talk about life planning and being put in uncomfortable situations, I just interviewed DJ Yella,
yes,
which is close to your whole situation,
yes,
and so forth. And until I read his book and we sat down and did the interview, I didn't realize that after NWA folded, he became homeless.
I didn't know that. I saw that article.
Yeah. You became homeless.
Yeah.
And I guess you were sleeping on your sister's couch?
Yeah.
At one point, and then you had to sleep on someone else's couch?
Well, first it was someone else's couch. It was my future wife, but I didn't know it was my wife. Mm-hmm. She had a house. It was vacant. The house was, she lived in Texas with my son, and it was vacant. But she had renters. The crazy part is the renters moved out without even telling her. They just was gone. And then she let me stay there. I stayed there about a year, and then with my sister for the rest of the 2 years. And a couch. That just, when you had everything, almost everything, and nothing. But you know something? I wasn't stressed out. I wasn't in the dumps, mad. I'm just, it's all me. I can't blame it on nobody. It's just me.
And that shocked me as well.
Yeah.
You know? See, like I tell my children, you know, you got to have, it's something that my kids will tell you, that hustling got to be in your DNA. Mm. See, it's not something that you can teach. Hustling is in your DNA. Are you a grinder? Do you go out and get it? Or do you sit back and feel entitled that somebody's going to do something for you? You have to keep that drive in you. Like I told you, I'm 100 years old. You wouldn't think it, because I get up, I go to bed at 9, I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, Vlad.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
usually 3.
Yeah, I'm doing the stock market. I got the candles downstairs. I'm smoking a cigar. I'm thinking about my day, and I don't normally talk to people from 5 to 12. From 5 to 12, I tell people just to get them off my back, because people really have not negative information, but dumb shit to be talking about between 5 and 12. So I say from 5 to 12, that's for the Lord. You know, see, when you get older, you start saying shit about God, because you want to mention the Lord's name as much as possible, just in case there's a point system when you get to heaven. You know, because everything is about the point system, right? You go to Walgreens and you purchase stuff. You know what they say? Are you registered here? Yes. Oh my God, you have 1,000,007 points. And you say, well, how much is that? Because you think it's a lot. $11.97. And you're like, yo, give me all that. Because before I used to like put it away and save it for a rainy day. But the numbers sound like it's amazing. Just like Southwest. I fly Southwest all the time.
Yeah.
And Southwest, you could have 800, 900,000 points, right? That's $300.
Right. Right. Or you could use an American Express card like I use, and
Yes.
every dollar you spend is a point for any airline.
Yes, and I use American Express, and
Yep.
American Express is good when you go on Amazon Prime. And then when you see 975,000 points that you can use to purchase something, so you buy 4 candles, you got 9 points left.
There you go. There you go. We're talking about DJ Yella. At one point, he was in such bad shape, right, that he called Dr. Dre. And Dre said, "Hey man, why don't you come down to the studio? Let's hang out." And he said, "Okay, I just have to borrow a car." And at that point in his life, he had owned over 50 brand new cars.
Wow.
And here he was, his former group mate, the billionaire Dr. Dre, saying, "Hey, come on over, let's hang out." And he's telling this man, "I gotta borrow a car." And when he went to go meet with Dre wrote him a check to buy a new car. He said, what will it take to fix you? He goes, "Well, right now a car." He goes, "Okay." And he bought himself like a Nissan Cube. Nothing extravagant or whatever else with a stick shift, what I mean? But he was able to get around at that point.
Awesome.
But it just shows, this guy had owned 50 cars, he had owned multiple homes, he'd owned boats, jewelry, Rolex watches, he was paying for his family, and here he was as a middle-aged man.
Yes.
Having to ask his former group mate,
And what people don't know, what they say, them tables shall turn. And I think we had this conversation before about Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson went broke, and I told everybody that Michael Jackson went broke because he stopped working. Because see what people do, and I teach this to my children again, when you spend, you got to replace. If you can't replace it, don't spend it.
Yeah.
You can't keep spending and don't put nothing back.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to be on E.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Michael never downgraded his lifestyle after he stopped putting out albums.
Never.
He was still living lavish.
He still was living lavish, and that's why he ended up broke.
I mean, now the state is very
Yes,
wealthy,
yeah, they're doing
but
very well.
at the time, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and you did the research on it. You sent it to me. You said TK was telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yep, he wasn't working.
He ended up in some problems.
Right.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, you gotta work, people. Nobody old like this.
Or just downgrade your lifestyle.
Downgrade your lifestyle.
Take a look at what you got, ration it out over the next 10, 20 years, and it could potentially work for you if you have enough. And then you don't have to work. But if you think you're still balling,
Vlad, the older I get, I'm just confused. Like, I don't get it, sir. Like, I don't get it. And a gentleman told me years ago, and the gentleman named David Klingman, he said, no matter how big your home is, the mattress is still going to be the same size. No matter how. People go out here and spend all this money like people care, and nobody cares at all. I believe the richer you get, the more you stay low-key.
oh, this is true.
The richer you get, the more you stay low-key. Because the goal is to have that money as long as you can. Well, I should say, it's not how well you live, it's how well you die.
There you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're nearing the end of the R. Kelly trial.
Ooh.
I believe that the defense had their closing arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't seem like a very strong
No.
set of closing arguments. They had like a cop that was around him that claimed he never saw nothing. but,
Right.
that only goes so far. There was dozens of witnesses for the
Yes.
prosecution. There's
Dozens.
even a man who said he was sexually assaulted.
Saw that too, read that.
Sheesh. There's another guy that took the stand that wanted to play his demo in court.
I read that.
So
That's
R. Kelly might
hilarious.
hear it and discover him, even though he's going to prison.
Right.
Possibly.
And he said he still will work. He said he still will work with R. Kelly
Yeah,
if
right.
the opportunity. I said, what the fuck is going on, man?
Number one, do you think that he'll be found guilty?
Oh, absolutely. And from Bill Cosby to R. Kelly to people who don't understand crime. See, you live in such a world that you don't think that you're guilty, that you really believe the hype, but you really know that you're guilty. The goal that Bill Cosby did, even though he got out, he could have got out a lot sooner if he'd have took the plea deal.
Yeah.
He'd have been out. Because I guarantee he probably wouldn't have did no time. They probably just was registered as a sex offender and he'd have been on the street.
Right.
R. Kelly knew his situation. And I love you, R. Kelly. You toured with me, put a lot of money in my pocket in the 90s. And I'll never throw you on the bus. I'm just here talking facts. As a friend, I'd have told him, don't go to trial.
Take the plea deal.
Take the deal.
I mean, did R. Kelly have a plea deal?
No, they always give you a deal.
Not always.
No, they always give you a deal.
Yeah, but sometimes that deal is like 30,
it'd
40
be crazy.
years.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
You know
But you don't want to, this should have never went to trial. This is embarrassment. Herpes, the doctor come and the doctor say, yeah, he had herpes in 2006 and then you ain't pay your doctor. The doctor will understand, talking about, yeah, he has herpes to the point that they call so much that I know the number to the pharmacy that they wanted by heart. You don't go to trial on something like that. Then Boys is coming out.
The stuff with the Boys coming out, I've never heard any gay anything about R. Kelly.
No, never.
I just haven't.
But,
not to say it's true or not true. And listen, this man can live how he wants to live. I've just never heard anything but women and R. Kelly.
Right.
Now,
and whether it's men or boys, let me explain something to you. And we're not throwing nobody in the bus. But my point is, you don't go to trial when you got that much heat on you. You're supposed to take the deal, stay low key, do the time, and go. Why rehash all those memories, especially when they did the thing on VH1 about his life that got him locked up?
Yeah, no, it wasn't VH1. It was Surviving R. Kelly.
Yeah, Surviving R. Kelly,
which was on some other network.
And
it wasn't VH1. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, that really buried him. He was actually living his life. He had won his first trial. He got him locked up. Yeah, I mean.
And here's the other thing about criminals in America. No one never wants to leave. Like, if you know they're coming for you, you're supposed to go to a country that has no extradition, but people are afraid to leave.
Well, not to say he's a criminal, right? I'm not going to say that.
Yes, right.
But for example, you look at Russell Simmons.
Yes. Russell got the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. I talked to Russell.
Yes.
He is way out of the country.
Yes, gone.
He sold his homes.
Yep.
He sold all his paintings.
Yes.
He had Basquiat's.
Yes.
I remember going to his house and there was a Basquiat Warhol.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Biggest painting I've ever seen.
And wherever he is, he's living like a king, because I'm quite sure it's not that expensive.
He is chilling.
Yes.
I'm not going to say what he's doing with his money.
Right.
But he's doing some interesting things with the hundreds of millions that he has. But he is living on an island. I don't believe there's an extradition policy.
Right.
And a documentary came out about him on HBO Max.
Okay.
Where that girl accused him of whatever,
right.
And so forth. He saw it coming. He said, okay, I'm out.
Right. That's what you call smart.
Yes.
That's
because God knows I would be anywhere in the world but a prison cell.
Yes, absolutely. And what I talk about in my stand-up, I explain to the world that even they arrest Bill Cosby for what he did years ago, the world changed over the last 30 years. The mindset, how they moved, because back in his day in Studio 54, they was doing the cocaine. They was doing Spanish Fly. That was their thing.
Yeah.
But the world changed the way they think, the way they move. Even the women that was in that situation then think about it now and say, oh, I got taken advantage of. But anytime I feel you come back more than one time, something's not right.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
listen,
just me.
Look.
And it's not to say you ladies are lying. I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah.
I'm just giving my perspective on that angle.
Right. And he's got a new case now.
I saw that.
He's got a new case.
Damn.
He canceled his comedy tour.
Yes.
Which he never should have done in the first place.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And this won't get him put in jail. This is a civil matter.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is a civil matter. It's not about going to jail. It's about money.
Oh, you're right. It's a lawsuit.
It's a lawsuit.
It's a lawsuit. It's a lawsuit, which means that there's no jail time. So
right, no jail time.
People are just trying to get some more dollars out of it.
Right. That's a shame, man. God bless her. That's like how I move the way I move, by myself.
Yeah.
Women scare me.
They should.
Man.
Women are scary.
They scare me, sir.
Hell hath no fury like a woman
Man, they
scorned.
scare me. I'll smile with you, but bitch, I'm nervous.
Nicki Minaj's husband.
Wow.
The woman who he allegedly raped just did an interview recently. Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that.
And he's actually facing serious charges for not registering as a sex offender.
So that's the reason why that came up with her? Because me and my son, again, was discussing this, right? And what I want to say is, if he went to jail for that already, why is... Because the reason why they're trying to put him in jail because he didn't register as a sex offender.
Yes.
That's a serious charge?
Serious charge. Wow. You're a sex offender for the rest of your life. Wherever you go, the community has to know that you're there in order to protect their children.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
No family wants to live next to a sex offender.
I agree.
And if they do and there's no other choice, they should at least know about it so they could be extra careful with their children.
Yeah, like you got to live with if you know you're a sex offender.
You're a sex offender.
The best thing in life when you do something wrong and something I faced years ago, I face it head on. I know I did it. I'm not going to lie about it. It is what it is.
Right.
And I'm going to live my life.
It's not like he just found out he was a sex offender.
Right.
He's been known.
Right.
So when he moved, listen, he had the ultimate come up. For you to get Nicki Minaj pregnant and marry her, coming from where you come from with no career to speak of that I've heard of.
Yes.
This was not like a successful man. This was not someone who had a business, and him and Nicki were equals of any, financially or whatever. This is someone that used to date Nicki back in the day, and he's offering her some emotional stability and caring and so forth that she needs from a partner. She got pregnant, they got married. You got the ultimate come up.
That's the lick of
ultimate come up. You're married to this woman who's considered the greatest rapper of all time. She's probably worth over $100 million. Do what you need to do and register where you need to register. Because he might be going back to prison.
Yep. Because they're not playing with that.
No.
They're not playing with that.
Nor should they.
And I see it in the news every day. See, and the more stays in the news, the more that you get heat on it. Now, my opinion, Nicki should have never gotten involved in talking to the young lady. Like, I believe you're my husband, you handle that.
Yeah.
I got to stay back. I can't
I was
touch
around
that.
when that happened. And let me tell you, man, I saw some of that interview and it was like a brutal story. It was like she got snatched up on her way to school.
Yes. Gun to her back.
Yeah, raped in a building and so forth. Like, it was pretty serious.
Yes.
So I don't know what's going to happen. He may end up going back to prison for a while.
Yes.
I can't imagine going back for a severely long time.
Right.
Because it's not like this is he was caught doing it again. Mm-hmm. He just forgot to register. So
and see, and when you are popular, they always make an example.
Always. Right, because the feds clout chase just like everyone else.
They sure do.
No one wants to, there's no points for getting Chester the molester off the streets. But Nicki Minaj's husband, oh, now that looks big.
And they always, and to the people who want to do crime, when you say, oh, they throwing us under the bus, or they shouldn't give you that much time. Let me explain to you how crime works to the people listening. They lock you up so the friends that you have or the people who are reading don't go to jail. They trying to discourage you and coming to jail. That's why they give out the time that they have. When the vice president ran for president, what's her name? The vice president. Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I voted for her. And I talked about it on stage. So people were saying, TK, that bitch put a lot of people in jail in California.
Yeah.
I said, they got caught.
They're caught. Right.
The fuck? You think you get caught, you get a pass? They got caught. What I'm saying to the people, once you get caught, they're gonna play you.
Yeah.
And the system ain't fair. So don't get in the system. Because, we could prevent you from going to jail, but once you get in there, easy to get in, hard to get out.
Yeah, a lot of people, I see this in the comments, right, on Twitter and so forth. They're like, yo, Vlad, how come all the black gangsters you interview, end up doing 20, 30 years? Probably these white mafia guys got like 3-4 murders and they don't do any jail time. This is a racist system. And I'm like, no, this is not. Well, number one, yes, it is a racist system. Yes. But in this particular case, there's a very simple explanation for this. The mafia guys I interviewed usually cooperate. Some of these guys would take the stand 6, 7, 10 times in different trials against mafia bosses and so forth. This is why they get out doing 12 days in jail for 2 murders. This is why. And the guy over here, who does 20 years, kept his mouth shut. But that's why he did the 20 years.
Yes.
The system is designed for you to cooperate and get time removed. If you want to do this street code thing and keep your mouth shut and say, well, I stood tall, go ahead and lose a third of your life in prison. And that's what you get for that.
And what people don't understand, Vlad, when you watch these documentaries about the mobs in New York, they all snitched on each other.
Yeah. Even the one guy who was really known for never snitching, Carmine the Snake Persico,
yes,
one of the mafia bosses, recently came out that he was an informant.
Yes. And
years later.
And that's the myth in the community. Oh, you got to be a stand-up guy. Everybody. There's no honor amongst thieves.
Yes.
And here's the thing. If you got a co-defendant and they separate you and they put your boy in one room and you go in a room, I want you to say to the detective first, come to my room first. Because once they go in the other room and they offer the other person the deal first, whoever get the deal first is the one. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm as a street and educated guy, I wouldn't tell anybody to snitch but where I sit now, I wouldn't put myself in a position to go to prison that I would have to snitch on someone or someone to snitch on me. Mm-hmm. Because we live in what we call a hypocritical world. They'll say that you're a snitch, but if you caught a case, you'll be the first person to snitch and walk out.
Yeah, and a lot of times, man, this whole no snitching code is really designed for the bosses to stay out of prison. Mm-hmm. They tell all the guys underneath them, don't snitch, do your jail time. Don't snitch, do your jail time, And then when the bosses get caught, they'll tell on everybody.
Yep.
A lot of the time. Not every time, but a lot of the time.
A lot of time.
And let's just say you don't snitch, right? Let's just say you hold firm. These guys that I've interviewed that have done 20, 25, 30 years, they come out and the story is always the same. There's nothing waiting for them.
Nothing.
All the money they put in other people's names have been spent by that time. Yep. The properties they put in other people's names are going to stay in those other people's names, and you're not getting those back. And then there's nothing you could do about it.
Nothing you could do about it.
You have to start your life over as a 50-year-old man with a felony, a serious felony.
Serious felony.
On their record with a small little skill set.
Yes.
Trying to figure out how to get through life. With a strained relationship with the family. You don't really know your kids. You were not around to raise them.
Right.
So they're going to be upset to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
Your woman has probably moved on by that time. You're sitting here 40, 50, 60 years old trying to figure out how to live out the rest of your life.
And we're saying this to people because when me and Vlad get on here, y'all come up to me, y'all talk about how me and Vlad really be dropping knowledge and game. And we will do this until the end of time. This is about not going to jail. I've always been the first to do a lot of things. That's what they know me for.
Right.
So let me tell you a story. 1976 is when they started the Scare Straight program. Mm-hmm. And it was in New Jersey. And in my school, I was one of the people that they took to the Scare Straight program. And they took us to Rahway State Prison. We got off the bus, the students, we all walked in, and I saw some of the toughest guys on the street with scarves on their head, booty shorts. It was the most frightening thing I had ever seen in my life. And when we were able to leave, I was the first one back on that bus. And that fear to this day still exists. And when I see these young kids with the shootings, with the robberies, the domestic violence, the just beating people up, and everybody's tough until they call your number in jail. They take you, they give you your outfit, they give you your thin mattress, they walk you to your cell. You don't know what time it is. You don't know if it's dark or sunny out, and they shut that damn cell on your ass. Mm-hmm. And you know what you say? Damn, I wish I could have did it differently.
Let me tell you, I interviewed Eddie Mathis. He was a DC drug kingpin.
Yes.
He said that when he went to prison, he was seeing young guys in prison getting gang raped by like 30 older dudes at a time.
Yes.
Was rape a thing during those times?
Oh, man, it was commonplace, man, honestly. I mean, you could walk out your dormitory and see somebody grabbing somebody, 2 or 3 guys throwing a coat over their head, you know, and taking them into a dorm, and you have 20 or 30 guys lined up to rape them. You know. So it was commonplace, you know.
If that does not make you not want to go to prison, that imagery right there. And if that's not enough, go watch the movie American Me.
Ooh.
That's what got me to never go to prison. I'm going to tell you that right now. Watching that movie in high school, you know, I didn't have family that was in prison. I didn't hear prison stories. I had no idea how prison culture works. You know, I had no idea that men are getting raped until I watched that movie. And I remember watching it saying, yeah, not for me. No thanks.
You know, my scary movie, but it wasn't really scary, Shawshank Redemption.
That was a good one.
I was catching cases during that time.
Aha. Okay.
So I never wanted to watch it. So now when I watch it, I have this relief thing like, whew, you know, thank God I never really did no time, right? But when that came out, it was one of those shows I didn't want to watch, no prison movies or anything of that nature. And Vlad, we're on the same page. We don't want to see nobody go to jail.
No.
You think that you're tough? Let's say you are tough, but the conditions in there are horrific.
Yeah, and let me say this, because I've had a lot of deep, long conversations with guys that have done serious prison time, on and off camera. And the one thing this one guy told me, which always stuck with me, he said, a lot of these so-called tough guys, these shooters, these gangsters, they all do this type of violence from a distance, right? You're doing a drive-by shooting. You're shooting up a spot, whatever else. In prison, it doesn't work that way. If you got a problem with that person, you got to get right up on them. You're going to have to use a knife or you're going to have to use your hands. And 99% of the dudes don't want that type of situation.
Absolutely.
All these so-called tough guys, they get to prison and they play quiet. They turn into a totally different human being.
They sure do.
You know?
They sure do.
Now, some of the dudes are with that, right? But most people, it's not like shooting a gun at somebody.
I didn't even think about it that way. You're so right. You're so right, because
you got to get right in that person's. You got to feel that person's breath on your face. You got to physically be able to take that person down.
Yes, and you see
and you don't know what they have on them,
and you don't know what they have
on them, or who they're with.
And yes, right.
You know, it's a totally different
game changer.
Totally different game that you're playing in that prison.
Once you leave that outside world to go in there.
Yep. And there you go. Recently I was talking to a gay person about this, and we were talking about prison culture, and they felt that like when you see guys that are always going back to prison, there's a reasonable chance that they're actually gay and in the closet, and they like that environment.
I agree.
Of just being around men where it's more acceptable. You don't have to really hide who you are. You know, you're around people who are thinking how you think.
One of my guys just got out for 30 years. He said when we went in, that could have never happened, that gay thing. They are running the jails now. Running it.
What do you expect?
Exactly.
It's all men.
It's all men.
What do you expect?
He said, TK, back then, when I first went in, that was looked upon as taboo. Now it's the way of the world. And one of my friends, she works in Cleveland. She's an attorney and all that. And I did an interview on my podcast. And we talked about getting raped in jail. She said, no, nobody gets raped. She said, them young boys come in, they give it to you now. Nobody's getting raped. So listen.
Some people are getting raped.
Some
people are still getting raped. Not everyone's with it.
Right. But man.
Not everyone's with it.
Listen to me. God bless y'all.
Right.
That's it. I'm done with it.
Well, right now, Lil Nas X has, if not the #1 album in the country, damn near it. They're fighting over it. I mean, he had the whole pregnancy photo shoot and everything else like that. And let me tell you, go back to the VladTV catalog, 10 years plus. I've been saying this. Like, look at my interviews with like Fat Joe from like 7, 8 years ago. I've said it. There is going to be, at some point, I said, there's going to be a mainstream, gay, out of the closet rapper with hit songs. And everyone's going to accept it.
Right.
Right? Now, I was thinking that it was going to be someone who's already established who's going to come out the closet. I didn't think there's going to be a brand new artist that pulls this off. But Lil Nas X pulled it off.
He pulled it off.
He pulled it off. And everyone showed up on his album, and it's #1 album. And he's trolling the shit out of people, and he's doing gay performances with naked men on stage. And, you know, I really feel that if he didn't come out the closet, his run probably would have ended with Old Town Road.
And let me tell you what I think. I think Nas X is not gay. I think Nas X is did. What's the guy that group Milli Vanilli? How they was singing and somebody else sang the song?
You think he's fake?
Yeah, Nas X is a nigga that know karate. Whoop niggas as UFC fighter. And he said, you know what? Let me take advantage. Some manager said, let's take advantage of this gay shit and go get this money. And he doing everything he can. And 5 years from now, he gonna say, I tricked all you motherfuckers, yo.
I've been straight the whole time.
I've been straight the whole time.
It's my wife and kid.
Right. He gonna get he got a family somewhere. He kicking it. He kicking it. Lil Nas X is not gay, y'all. Lil Nas X is playing everybody.
That would be the greatest troll ever. Because he is a serious troll.
Yes.
I remember I interviewed Pastor Troy just recently.
Okay.
Right? And he went at Lil Nas X. And he was like, man, fuck this Lil Nas X shit. You know, because Lil Nas X wore like a hot pink cowboy outfit at the Grammys. He's like, man, I guess this is why I entered the Grammys, because I ain't going to dress like this shit. And man, just the other day, I was at Applebee's with my son, and I seen two dudes feeding mozzarella sticks to each other. And my son said, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. Fuck Applebee's. So what did Lil Nas X do? He said he put up a tweet and it said, Pastor Troy when he sees dudes eating mozzarella sticks. And it's like, not on my book, not on my book, not on my watch. Like he's trolling.
Right.
He's trolling.
Because when you watch Nas X, he has no feminine things about him. He just talks about being gay. He doesn't seem like a woman. He might wear the outfits, but I still see a man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey man, listen, if you're right, you are right.
Listen, I've been right on this show
before. This will be the ultimate flashback. This will be the ultimate flashback.
Nas X
if you
gonna
are
say,
right,
I got you.
I got you.
Be like, who raised you?
I remember last time we talked about the Kid Cudi thing with the dress, right? And Kid Cudi was actually on, LeBron's show on HBO, The Shop, I believe.
Right.
And I believe he was talking about our interview.
Oh, is that right?
Because he was talking about the dress.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, you have these grown black men that are doing interviews talking about my dress. And, it's just, I can't believe it's so surprising and so forth. And I'm like, pretty sure he's talking because we're, the most prominent out there that were talking about it. And, the Met Gala just happened. He wore a dress again, along with like eyeshadow and everything. But then Russell Westbrook posted up a picture of him wearing a skirt. That one surprised me.
I'm going to say this, Vlad. I don't give a fuck. Vlad, listen to me. If I could have my way, it'd be a different ball game out here. I've worked hard to... It's an honor to sit in this chair, to talk, to see... A lot of people don't come from where I come from. A lot of people don't understand privilege and great opportunities and how things can truly change your life. See, I started this game in the 80s. I seen the growth of the entertainment industry and the social media world that changed my career, right? Because even though I've always made money, when I did the Breakfast Club because of my son, because I wasn't going to do the Breakfast Club. My son asked me to do the Breakfast Club. He said, Dad, you should do Breakfast Club. I said, I'm not doing no goddamn Breakfast Club. I know they were kids to me. Charlamagne was kids to me. So I wound up doing it. Before I hit the ground floor, you called me. Listen, I left the Breakfast Club. You guys called me before the elevator touched the floor. Can you come do our show? And I was already in New York.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yep.
And when I was coming, I couldn't get on David Letterman.
Yeah.
When I was coming, I couldn't get on Arsenio Hall. You understand? I couldn't get on Johnny Carson. You are the Johnny Carsons of social media.
I'll take that.
See,
that.
This how far I go back.
Yeah.
See, we get millions of views.
Yeah.
All that stuff together, your whole show together is over 40 million probably a month. These are numbers of Johnny Carson, if not more.
Yep.
So when I do this, I understand where I'm at and where I came from. And I'm blessed. So I'm on the, picture me rolling. In my head, I'm on the highway with the convertible back with my children. Because what I found out in life, people get caught up in the fame, get caught up. It's about your family. When it's all said and done, if you don't have no money, or if you got a lot of money, David Klingman, he passed away, he's one of my partners for over 30 years. He said, TK, the thing that you have best for you is that your kids love you and respect you, and you have a relationship with your children. A lot of men don't have a relationship with their kids.
It's a damn shame.
And that's a horrible feeling.
It's a damn shame.
So to know that out of all the things I got in the world, I got that, plus I'm living amazingly. Russell Westbrook, Lil Nas X, y'all can wear skirts, y'all can wear cups on your dicks, y'all can wear stockings up to your fucking knees. This guy don't give a fuck. Do your thing.
There you go. Well, this is one of the things you actually want to talk about because you texted me about it. Lil Durk was talking about how jewelers are ripping off rappers,
right,
with fake diamonds and stuff like that. And shortly after that, Lil Baby talked about how he had a fake $400,000 watch. Well, he got exposed. He had posted up his watch, and there's this big Instagram page called Fake Watch Buster that basically showed how this limited edition Patek Philippe that he had was completely fake.
Right.
And it was a $400,000 watch.
Right. And I said, when I saw that, I said, it's a nice fucking house. When I saw it, I saw the price. I said, people spend. Here's to the young kids in the world. Let me share to you. That's why you listen to your OGs. And this is the reason why I wanted to bring this up. You ready? In 1998, I caught a case with Puffy Combs. It was a credit card stolen. A female was involved. Some federal agents involved because my cousin was a federal agent. I sent them to the jewelry store to pick up some items. I never snitched on the female who had put all this together. Not that I was going to do any jail time, but I never snitched. Everybody thought it was really about me. But here's what happened in the conversation. The feds told me in 1998 that they didn't understand why people spend so much money on diamonds. Because what the jewelry stores don't know, they are being investigated for over the last 10 years about overcharging fake diamonds. And here's the percentage, 600%. 600%. And again, I know I'm talking about my son so much on that. My son will say there shouldn't be a diamond in the world that costs that damn much. It's insane. When I saw the young 6'9" with the $1 million necklace and that it could spin, he was pouring water on it. I said, what is going on? I could see 10,000. I can even see 20,000 on something that you want to look good on. I believe in looking good. I believe in stay low-key flex occasionally, but you want to have a little bling on you.
Yeah, well let me tell you, I'm going to share the story for the first time publicly.
Okay.
Right? I kept my mouth shut all these years.
Okay.
But what was interesting about this particular situation with this watch from Raffaello and Company is I actually had a bad experience with the same company. Yes. And I will go into details on it right now. And I have people that were involved in this that could vouch for this particular situation.
Okay.
So I'd known the guy, at Raphael for a while, right? I've done a little interview with him and so forth. So I had actually traded in a rose gold Hublot King Power watch.
Beautiful watch. Sounds like it. Right. Rose gold.
Rose gold, solid.
Y'all young kids don't know nothing about that rose gold. But go ahead.
I traded in, we did a deal where I gave him that watch and he gave me a Rolex Presidential 2 in yellow gold.
Okay.
Everything looked cool, everything else like that. When I went to go get it appraised and looked at, for my insurance and so forth, we come to find out that one of the links on the back of it was rose gold instead of yellow gold. And then we come to find out that the actual, glass on the watch wasn't even Rolex glass. So I had to spend a few $1,000s to get this watch back into its original shape. And this is what happens sometimes. Now, for me, it was like, okay, whatever. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I texted him about it. He never responded, obviously. I didn't make a big deal out of it because I'm like, whatever. I wanted this watch. I got rid of it. I spent a few extra $1,000. But it's not like I was informed that this watch is this Frankenstein watch.
Right.
And it wasn't enough money for me to make a big deal out of it.
That was years ago.
That was years ago.
So that means that's their MO.
I don't know if that's their MO for everybody, but look what happens.
Right. No, I'm telling you.
How many of these watches have these guys sold to people that didn't catch it, like me or Lil Baby? Lil Baby wouldn't have caught it if he didn't Instagram it.
Right.
Because the fact that his watch was fake, the changes were so subtle.
Yes.
It was so it's like the font was slightly different and the hand was a little bit off.
Yep.
But we're talking about 400,000. If he never Instagrammed it, he'd be sitting there with his $40 watch thinking it's worth $500,000.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I was impressed that he had 400,000 to give it to
he
him.
got 400,000.
I was like, man, that's him.
So when it comes, and shout out to my man David Bling, shout out to my man Will. These are two jewelers in New York who I've dealt with a very long time. It's always been legit and so forth.
Right.
But just know who you're dealing with and know about their reputation.
I totally agree.
And if you can buy your watches from the dealer, try to do that.
Absolutely.
Try to do that. It's not always easy to do.
Right.
But
now why?
Well, for example, right? I have a guy at Audemars now because I've had many Audemars watches over the years.
Okay.
I now have a guy over there
that
approached me as a customer and said, hey, listen, I know you probably buy some of our watches. I have an Audemars Royal Oak Offshore.
Okay.
It's called the Brick. It's a big yellow, solid gold, big ass watch, right? And he's like, you probably have had some of these watches. You've had a lot of our watches over the years, but you've always gotten them secondhand. We want to work with you directly.
Awesome.
But the thing with these Audemars watches is that when you go into the Audemars store, they will literally have nothing in stock. You'll walk into this Fifth Avenue, $100,000 a month rent store, and there'll be nothing on the walls at all. Because these watches are being sold for such a higher markup that if someone walks in and bought like an Audemars, open worked face for 70,000, they can go across the street and sell it for 170.
Man.
So, and they know that, so they don't sell to customers anymore unless you have a relationship with the actual brand, which is why the first thing Lil Baby said was, Patek, you need to put me on that list.
Right, I read
so
that.
I can get the real shit. That's what he's talking about.
Right.
He's talking about the list that I'm on with Audemars.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Get on that list, and then you could work directly with the company. You could buy it for retail and so forth. But they monitor these watches, meaning that if you buy the watch and it shows up for sale somewhere else, they'll never work with you again.
Man, what a hustle.
And this is the hustle, But when you get into the diamond game, that opens up a whole new can of worms, which is why I never have diamond custom nothing.
Right.
All my watches are plain Jane.
Right.
If they have diamonds, it's factory diamonds. Right.
Yeah.
And if you want to, for everyone out there who's getting your money up, who got a few dollars put aside, you want to buy a nice watch, you want to buy some jewelry, you want to spend the money that you've worked so hard, for yourself, to have something nice for yourself. Buy a watch and keep it exactly the way it is.
That's true.
Stick to certain brands like Rolex, Audemars, Patek Philippe. All those watches will maintain their value.
Mm-hmm.
You could usually sell it for what you bought it for.
Right.
It's not an investment, but it's a place to park your money.
Right.
And as you start to gain more money, you can say, well, I can keep this, $30,000 in my bank account and make $1 a year in interest, or I could buy this watch and keep it in good condition. And it's almost the same thing as keeping it in the bank account.
Right.
And it's a lot cooler than actually just having it in your bank account.
Right, I agree.
And that's how I approach.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
See, I got nothing but nice watches from back in the day, and every now and then I'll throw something on. But right now, it's just damn Apple Watch.
There you go. There you go. So everyone got their thing.
Yes.
Some people in the watches, some people in the cars.
Right.
Some
My
people
thing
in the
is underwear.
clothes.
My thing is
Underwear, that's your thing?
Listen to me.
Okay, all right.
And to the men out here, I tell women all the time, the next time you get ready to have sex with a man, look at his underwear. If it's loose, it's the top, the tank top supposed to hold your chest together. If it's loose around there, he's had that on 3 or 4 days. If his underwear pants is real loosey, he got shit stains in his underwear. And ladies, when the last time you asked a man, right before he got in bed with you, let me see the bottom of your socks? Because most men's socks is dirty as hell. And if you see how dirty his socks is, you'll never give him no pussy.
There you go.
That's funny.
Well, I recently interviewed Turk,
My man.
formerly Cash Money.
Yeah.
And this sort of made some, some fireworks along the way.
Okay.
He talked about the whole kissing thing,
Right.
which he's never denied.
Right.
He said,
Yeah.
Birdman.
I seen it too. Yeah.
Birdman has kissed him in the, in the
Right.
lips. He's seen Wayne do it. He's seen BG do it.
Right.
Juvenile, he didn't really, like the younger dudes did it, but the older dudes kind of
Right.
whatever. Right. And what he said was, which I remember the Breakfast Club even talked about this on there. He said, hey man, listen, whether you want to admit it or not, every man plays gay games with their friends.
I read that.
Every male, dog, have some type of game, gay game. That's what they call it, gay game, penitentiary game that they play with their homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Niggas not gonna mention it. They not gonna say it because of social media, and they'll try to act like they gangster or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But every nigga might be like, damn, bitch, you sexy today, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Niggas be doing shit like that. But to me, it's not no, you know what I'm saying? When you know your sexual preference, bro, it's like,
Number one, would you agree or disagree with that statement?
Vlad, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, Vlad. I've been here a long time to hear some of the things that come out of people's mouths, their thought process, literally scares the fuck out of me that people really think or say the things that they're saying. My answer to it, no. I don't believe that.
He also called it penitentiary games.
Yeah, I ain't got that kind of time. Glad.
Yeah, I started to think, I'm like, have I ever played gay games with my friends?
Never did no shit like that.
I don't think I have.
I never did no shit like that.
I don't think I have. I'm being honest right now. And I would admit it if I did. Like,
I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. Like, what's wrong? What happened?
Think I have. I don't think I have.
Vlad, what happened? I mean, I'm a lot older than you, but what happened?
I don't know.
Something happened.
I don't know. And listen, I feel these were kids. So honestly, I put it on Birdman as opposed to them. They didn't know. Listen, they're on the ride of their lives. Cash Money's blowing up.
And I'm not even talking about the kissing. I'm talking about playing the gay games.
The gay game.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think what Baby did was like the mafia. They kissed on the cheek, Baby kissed them in the mouth.
Right.
See, when I was hanging with them, a lot of people in New Orleans, I had to call my homies and say, this is what y'all do down here? So my other street dudes down there was like, no, that's that shit Baby and them do. It's exactly what he said.
That's not New Orleans thing, that's a Baby thing.
Yeah, that's what Baby and them do. I never questioned Baby's sexuality. Never questioned Turks. I've been with them. I hung with these brothers for years. Mm-hmm. I come from New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey, up on the hill, Bitwall, Myrtle Avenue. But I grew up in the 60s. I grew up with the Black Panthers, who they office right down the street from my home on Myrtle Avenue. I move and think a different way. And I told people one time, I said, this is why we have to die. I'm gonna get deep on you now. The reason why a lot of us have to die because the world changes and we can't accept some of the things that we see because there's a transformation, there's an evolution. I'm not gonna say there's growth. I'm gonna say the way the world thinks differently.
Yeah, the old ideas have to die.
Yes, and if our great-great-grandparents saw the stuff that we thought was just easy, they will say, what the hell is wrong with you too? Let's go with bathing suits for a second before we move on. What people don't know about bathing suits back in the 60s and late 50s, your bathing suit had to be an inch over your knee. Or you got a ticket on the beach.
Men or women?
For women.
Women, okay.
And you go to jail. This with the thong down the crack of your ass and your stomach and your ass out. If you had this back then, so imagine
you'd get arrested.
Our grandparents, if they saw what women were doing today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember thongs being a thing when I was growing up.
No, you couldn't dress like that.
No, a thong was like something you'd wear in a porno or something.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, this was not something that you were just...
And it was kind of taboo because my mother wouldn't allow her grandchildren or any family member. That was thongs at one time was embarrassing. You said you was getting a thong. A girl was telling her mom she was getting a thong. You had some problems. Now,
it's the norm, right? And you have BBLs now, which is also the norm.
Right.
Brazilian butt lifts.
And we're changing.
And it's turning into. I remember seeing something about how you now have something called BBL fashion,
right?
Where basically fashion companies are now marketing towards women with BBLs, wow. and when you look at look at Fashion Nova. Like who are Fashion Nova brand ambassadors? They're not like natural girls most of the time. It's usually girls with a bunch of plastic surgery and so forth. And it's like, yeah, so-and-so and they're Fashion Nova and they're pushing it.
The history of surgery to me interests me. I want to see what the women do when their bodies are old, but their bodies are still young. If that makes sense, like the firm titties, the fake butts, right? When the rest of you gets old and you shrivel up, how does that work out? It's gonna be interesting.
You can usually tell by a woman's neck.
Or elbows.
Yeah, because there are certain things you can't do with plastic surgery, like your neck.
And your elbows.
Yeah, and the elbows.
And you look at a woman's neck and her elbow. See, I could tell people all the time, I like women. See, I come from an era where I like to take a woman's bra off, her titties go under the armpits. Right? Because you don't need the titties anyway. So you got your hand on the chest, you're having fun. Now, when you want to fuck with the titty, you take the titty from under the armpit, you have fun, you lick it, and then you throw the titty back under. And then you really want to have fun sometime, you take both the titties, click, clack, and be like, sprinkles.
Birdman was just on the Big Facts podcast.
Okay.
My man DJ Scream. And they asked him about the kissing thing. And he goes, I consider Wayne my son. And he said something to the effect of, being in the environment we're in, I did not know whether that time I would see him would be the last time I ever see him. And that's why I would kiss him. He's like, I kiss my own son also, in the lips and so forth. I don't quite get that. I never kissed. I remember one time I accidentally kissed my dad in the lips. Like, it was like he was kissing me in the cheek and I accidentally moved my hand, my head and we accidentally kissed in the lips. And it was like, oh, both of us were like, whoa.
Right.
It was weird.
That's right.
It was weird.
That's right.
Like, I never kissed my mom in the lips.
Right. Never.
I just didn't.
We just see the world.
It's just different.
Listen,
it's just different for me. Yeah.
What I keep trying to tell you, we see the world different and long as it's not hurting our family, long as our children are not being influenced by it, because like I said, everybody live your life. I know what I'm doing with my children and I'm happy with my kids. I can't go into another man's home and explain to him that he's doing X, Y, and Z.
Well, I remember in that same interview with Turk, I had mentioned that you had said that Baby was someone who didn't respect money.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to the story about how he bought I forgot how many Bentleys.
Right,
at the same
like
time.
six or seven that day.
6 or 7 that day. And then Turk said, well, Baby actually had 50 cars at one point.
A lot of people might think that those cars that was in the video wasn't for us. They wasn't for us. They was for Baby, and at one time, as I can remember, he had 50 cars at one time. Literally. This is not no number I done made up in my head. You know what I'm saying? And he had like 3 houses. and every house had at least 10, 15 cars there and cars at the Cash Money office. They was all baby cars. At the time, and when he had 50, I probably had 2 or 3.
And I remember I hit you about it.
Right.
And you actually had a story about that.
Yeah, and the story was when we went to his house, when we pulled up, you could tell these are brand new cars. They had been sitting so long that they were on flats. You know how long a car got to sit for the tires to be flat and you don't put air in them? And it was no cheap cars. It was expensive cars. And I was like, wow, we pulled up. And this wasn't even his main house. It was another house that he brought everybody to. But when Cash Money blew up, it puts a smile on my face because it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, because it got to a point that I used to say to people, if I never opened up for you, you didn't get famous. Because everybody opened up for went on to be successful. Ludacris, Nelly, the Cash Money Millionaires, NWA, the host of the Hard Knock Life Tour with Jay-Z, DMX, all of them love TK Kirkland. So when I see comedians who claiming that they're whatever, the top comic, I tell people all the time, you didn't start in 1985, and most of these kids that's doing comedy now were babies. Don't say nothing to me, because I started in 1985, and all I'm gonna say, like Baby would say, put some respect on my name.
Well, speaking of comedy, Katt Williams actually spoke about a hypothetical versus against Kevin Hart.
Right.
Would you ever do a comedy versus?
I wouldn't do a comedy versus. Let me tell you why. I consider myself really not a comedian. I consider myself a businessman. Comedy is my side hustle. But when I do get on that stage, I take it very seriously, but I take everything seriously I get involved in. I put the work in. I do what I'm supposed to do. And some comedians don't write all the time. They do the same material all the time.
For decades.
For decades.
I don't do that. I've literally seen a comedian, I'm not going to say who it is to put him on blast, but I remember I saw a comedian in the 90s, and I saw an HBO special 20 years later, and the jokes were actually the same.
Yeah. See, I don't do that. I work on my act every day, but the way I think, I literally see material every day. So my show is always evolving. It's always current events. I always say relevant to the business. That's me, but I'm a businessman. So if I had to do a verse, I thought Katt dealing with Kevin Hart was an easy layup. He didn't really go at, because Kevin is the man right now, high profile.
Yeah.
But he don't want no heat. He don't really want to go fuck with the heat people. Like, and Katt knows this, and I'll tell Katt straight up. We had a show once together.
Oh, really?
In St. Louis,
okay,
Missouri.
You and Katt Williams had a show.
Yeah, we had a show in St. Louis.
Who tore it down?
Let me tell you how this shit went down.
Okay, let's go.
When we was at the Embarcadero in St. Louis, I was opening at that time. I was a third feature on the show. Katt was the headliner.
Mm-hmm.
When we got there, the promoter came to me and said, TK, Katt want to go on before you. Now, Katt's in the dressing room right next to me. I say what the fuck I need to say. You gonna hear me. I said, no, he the motherfucking headliner. He gonna close out the motherfucking show. Because I already know what I'm capable of doing. All the comics know what the fuck TK Kirk are capable of doing. So now the show starts. Comics do the thing. I go out there. I turn this motherfucker out. When Katt comes on, his act's not doing well. He takes his mink coat off, throws it into the audience, gives about 9 people $100 a piece, and walks off the stage. And this is a true fucking fact.
So he gave up?
He gave up.
Okay.
This is just some real shit. Now, it's not to say Katt is not good. It's not to say Kevin Hart's not good, because we live in a world that people take this conversation and twist it. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is, if you know this comedy game, they know about T to the motherfucking K.
Well, recently we had Fat Joe versus Ja Rule. And then that started a lot of talk afterwards. And one of the things that came out of it was Memphis Bleak, I think, did an interview, and he was talking about, he was asked about a Jay-Z Nas battle. And he said that Nas just doesn't have the hits of a Jay-Z.
Oh, no.
To really compete. And everyone's, but I completely agree with that.
Yeah, no. I've seen that with my own eyes. With that whole journey from when Jay-Z came into the game in 1995, and I've some people, only maybe one or two people said to me that Nas is still better than Jay-Z, and let's say Nas is better than Jay. Let's just say Nas is better than Jay-Z, but Jay-Z work ethic was amazing.
True.
And so that's what I'm talking about. Let's forget the songs. His work ethic was on a whole nother level. And I rest my case.
Yeah, and listen, I could say that I like Illmatic better than any Jay-Z album.
Oh, yes. Represent.
I will say that.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
I will say that as a body of work.
Absolutely.
As one body of work, I can't put any J album over Illmatic.
Illmatic, unbelievable.
But in terms of a career with hit songs and consistent products,
yes,
Jay got him.
Yes.
Jay got him. And people think I hate on Nas. I've called him the worst beat picker of all time. Like I've said this in the third, people talk about his new projects. I think his new projects are cool.
I listened to his new project.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's not even cool. I was disappointed.
It was cool.
Nah, I was disappointed.
You were disappointed.
I ordered that shit because I listened to shit on the plane. I was disappointed. I was mad than a motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie. Like nobody's putting out Yeah,
I mean, King's Disease 2 was cool. King's Disease 1 was cool. But it wasn't like Jay's last album.
Yeah.
Was it 444? Like
right.
That
Jay shit be over.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we talk about hits.
Right.
Nas is really, Nas doesn't usually have hit records on his albums.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's had a few over the years, but Jay will give you a banger every project.
Time.
Hard Knock Life.
Right.
But
like you said,
Crazy in Love. Like, what are you going to play after Crazy in Love?
Right.
Like,
and he got the hits. But from beginning to end, Illmatic, hands down.
Totally agree. Perfect project.
Perfect project.
A perfect project. Well, there was a whole back and forth with Puffy and Jermaine Dupri.
Right. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. One of the things that Saigon, who I just interviewed, brought up, though, was that when you look at the majority of Puffy's hits, they're usually just samples of big 80s songs.
That's true. Not kinda, all of them.
Damn near.
Yeah. I've been around a long time.
I'll Be Missing You was a Sting Police song.
Right. Nothing original.
More Money, More Problems was I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross and so forth. And, they're going back and forth. And, Puffy's like, oh, the only person I'll battle is Drake, who's whatever. And it's like, Jermaine was like, well, I'm in the Songwriting Hall of Fame. That's something you'll never be in.
That's right.
Because really, Jermaine is like a real producer.
Yes. And he has original music.
Yes.
And I know Puff said he wanted to go up against Dr. Dre, but Dre got original music.
Yes.
Now, he got some samples and some of his stuff.
He does.
But the majority, original. Now, like Katt going against Kevin Hart, will it make sense for the hype of Puffy against Dre? Yes, the numbers will be insane. It will be insane. And I hope to see them all get to do their thing. But the verse I would like to see the most is my man from the Locks and my boy that worked with Jay-Z from Philadelphia. What's his name?
You're talking about Jadakiss versus Beanie Sigel?
Beanie Sigel.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Beanie doesn't really have his voice the way he had it before.
Jay and them didn't let Beanie Sigel get loose.
But listen, I remember, and I even brought this up when I interviewed Beanie Sigel last time, years ago, right before he got locked up. At one point, Jay said that Beanie could go down as one of the greats like Tupac.
Man, Beanie Sigel.
I just felt like he got his life just sidetracked.
He kept getting in
trouble. He was going to prison.
Yeah.
He was doing drugs.
Yes.
When I interviewed him, he was really obese.
Okay.
Drinking, the lean and everything else like that, from what I understand at the time. Like, yeah, man, like you could be the nicest and you could be the most talented and you will not go down as that if you don't have that work ethic to go along with it. You
gotta have the work ethic. You gotta, and no matter what you have in life, you still gotta have a little luck on your side. I remember
that too.
Yeah, you gotta have a little luck on your side. You can have all the money in the world, you can wear your seatbelt. Listen to me. you still gotta have a little luck. One of the greatest moments of Beanie Sigel to me, we was on 125th Street in Harlem. He had the Rolls Royce parked outside. And I love looking at women. I like women. I ain't gotta fuck with you, but I like looking. He had the baddest bitch with him. When I say she was and she was in sweatsuit. She was in a sweatsuit with the hoodie on. And this is like the late 90s, early 2000s. Woo! I still remember like that was yesterday. And that's the thing about Beanie Sigel to me. Those two things. He never got loose. They never let him get loose. Just like Baby never let Turk get loose. Because Turk was nice. Turk never got to shine. And I wish that he'd had his opportunity to shine.
Well, I mean, he left though, right?
I don't know if he left. I'm not sure.
No, he left. That was the whole thing. Like by the time like Juvenile and all of them started leaving, he left also.
Okay.
And he said that was one of the worst decisions of his life.
Right.
He should have stayed because his album had dropped. He was doing well, and he was part of the Hot Boys and everything else like that. If he had stayed, he could have been, been up there with Wayne, potentially.
And that's what I said to myself, too. Even if they went on their own, you had your independence.
Mm-hmm.
But staying with Baby, you still made a lot more money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Baby even addressed, on that Big Facts interview, I mean, he said, like, everyone who said that he owed them money, he overpaid them. Whoever he said owed him $100 million, he paid him 150, or something like that. I mean, he said that initially he just didn't know the business himself and so forth. And I don't know. I mean, listen, everyone's going to say it the way
two sides of the story.
There's two sides of the coin, but Baby was, I mean, if not the greatest, definitely one of the greatest in terms of putting on other artists because, I mean, that to me is such a unbelievably difficult skill set to have. It's, you could be a great artist. You could be a great rapper, right? Like look at Drake. Probably the greatest rapper of our generation.
Yes, absolutely.
He's got a run that I have not seen in my lifetime.
Exactly.
In my lifetime.
Right.
People are comparing him to Michael Jackson now and so forth. I don't know if that's a fair comparison, but whatever. There is a conversation around it that people are having it. But if you look at OVO, they have not made any stars on that label outside of Drake.
Right. Right.
Party Next Door has done pretty well for himself. He's done some good writing and everything else like that. But you can't put Party Next Door and Drake on a similar platform.
Mm-hmm.
None of the artists that he's ever signed have ever done all that great. But you look at like an Akon, T-Pain, Lady Gaga, Birdman, Wayne, Juvenile, Nicki, Drake, Tiger,
listen,
Blueface, the list goes on and on forever. Young Thug came out of there really.
No one has done it like Baby.
Nobody. And it's hard, man. Let me tell you, as someone everyone feels that they're music experts, but VladTV used to be in Universal Records at one point, and we were part of SRC Records, and I was seeing the A&Rs really do their job around me.
Right.
To take an artist that no one has, that's got 100 plays on SoundCloud and say, this is going to be the next big thing. And a year later it is.
Yeah.
Is like, you have to be able to see the future in a way that's just unbelievable. You know what I mean? And the
not
songs,
just one artist.
Over and over again.
Over and over.
Yeah, this is why the Clive Davises,
right.
the L.A. Reeds, the Russell Simmons, like these guys are going down in history because they could see the future before it happens.
Right.
It's such a hard thing to do.
Them. And Baby, I got respect on your name. Cash Money Records did their thing. And I'm glad I was there at the beginning. Shout out to Baller Blocking.
I remember, I'm trying to think, this was in my notes, and I'm trying to remember where this was from. Might have been another interview that you did, but you talked about how you robbed Puffy, Suge, Eddie, and Charlie Murphy.
Right.
And you said they all had it coming.
Yeah, they all coming. And let me tell you, I told you about growth. And I bring that up in life because it's not to tell people I'm a gangster. It's to tell people how, as a youngster, I made horrible mistakes in my life. And I bring it up to tell people is because people bring it up. And I'm glad even in my 60s that people still mention my name and relevant to this day. Because in actuality, I'm supposed to be just chilling somewhere, and you probably wouldn't even know about a TK Kirkland. But to still be in great physical shape, to still be able to travel the world, to still have my name out there, I learned, let's use the 8 Mile philosophy, where Eminem talked about himself in that last battle to win the rap contest. See, I believed in that first. See, I believe I'm going to talk about me before you talk about me. To take the power away from you, so you don't have to. Your bitch is liking me because she see a smooth motherfucker on stage, right? And now you in the car, and you know your bitch feeling me, and you saying, oh, you know that nigga did this and did that. Because well, guess what? I'm gonna beat you to the punch.
Yeah.
About all that type of shit, you know. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, people don't remember this usually, but before Obama ran for president, he wrote a book about himself where he admitted to sniffing cocaine.
I never knew that.
He said in college, I took as much cocaine as I could get my hands on.
Right.
And that was never mentioned again.
Yeah, you see, obviously.
No one was able to pull that out later on.
Because
he had already talked about it.
He already talked about it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's in my book.
Right.
Page 38 to 42. There we go.
And that's how you beat people.
Yep.
See, I tell people all the time, it's not that you've done something bad in life. It's what you've done after the badness, right? Because one of my closing points when I say, Maya Angelou was a prostitute. If she'd have died in her 20s, she'd die as a prostitute.
I never knew that.
You get a chance to Google.
I believe it.
And
I believe it.
Malcolm X was a drug dealer.
That I know.
They named Dirty Red. And a pimp.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be Malcolm X.
Yeah.
The reason I tell the story about the Puffy thing and the Suge and the Charlie Murphy is that even though I was successful at that time, I still was doing crazy things as a youngster. But I want everybody to look at me now. Look, I'm healthy. I'm still alive.
You're legal.
I'm legal.
Yeah.
And God dropped all the charges.
God dropped all the charges.
God dropped all the charges.
I love it. We lost Michael K. Williams.
Yes.
Recently. Did you know him at all?
I don't know him well. We got pictures. I didn't want to post it because what has happened to me lately, I know I posted a video of me and AJ a couple of days ago because I had just posted that a week ago, but I didn't know AJ was deceased for 2 weeks before they found out that he was gone.
I heard about that.
That hurt my feelings, right? I'm getting to a point now, I'm just tired of posting pictures of people who passed just to say I knew that person. It hurts, right?
Yeah.
And especially when you're dying of a substance abuse or overdose or things of that nature. And again, it goes back to the beginning of our conversation about fame. And I don't know if fame gets people to want to do drugs or fame gets you to want to do lean and start doing crack or whatever that you do. I always say if you wasn't born doing it, you got it. You had a choice. You made a choice to start doing what you're doing.
100%.
Right? And I just want people to take, that's what, when you get on here, our show is not to bash nobody. Our show is to talk about facts and really to put men and women on game because they listen to us not to do drugs, not to go to prison, get a job, try to do the right thing because my philosophy is at least you heard it. You can't never say to me or say to somebody, no one never told me. What me and you're doing is when they listen to our interviews, you heard it. So subconsciously now in your mind, you know, damn, you know what? Vlad, TK, they did say, don't do this and do this. And that's what I want people to get out of our interviews, that they actually heard it. When you say you didn't have a father and your dad wasn't around, you know, and I'm tired of people using that fucking excuse. At the end of the day, you know right from wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they found heroin, I believe, in his apartment.
Yeah, Michael Williams.
Yeah, Michael
Williams. That
Williams.
hurt my feelings, man. And then I started saying, was somebody putting something in the drugs? Because everybody was going down.
Right. Well, because, recently, another comedian named Fuquan Johnson.
Yes.
Do you know him at all?
No, I didn't know him.
No, him I didn't know either, but it was like he was at like a little get together at someone's
And
house.
3 people died.
Yeah, there was like 4 people and 3 of them died.
Right.
From fentanyl. Yeah, man, listen, like the drugs that are out on the street right now, between the pills and the cocaine and the heroin,
I wouldn't touch
and the Molly,
nothing.
that shit is not what it used to be.
Right.
It will kill you.
It will kill you.
It will fucking kill
And what's
you.
so crazy about, let's talk about the government in the situation. Fentanyl is legal.
No, it's not.
They passed something with fentanyl.
Fentanyl's not.
It's not legal?
No.
Okay, so didn't Biden just pass a law that the charges on fentanyl is not as serious? Google that.
Okay, hold on.
Biden passed a law about fentanyl. Opposed law. Okay.
Here we go. Biden-Harris administration provides recommendations to Congress on reducing illicit fentanyl-related substances.
Ain't that a bitch? That's crazy.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. Yeah, I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something about that, about reducing the charges.
Isn't that something?
I think you're right.
And fentanyl is FDA approved. Google that. It's gonna shock you.
1998, fentanyl was approved.
I told you. I be knowing my shit, boy.
Well, listen, a lot of these things that turn into illicit drugs were
Right.
Originally created for actual medical reasons.
Absolutely. Just like
morphine.
Right. And Sudafed and Allegra. You can't, there's 2 types of Allegra. Okay. There's Allegra on the shelf, and then there's Allegra behind.
Yeah.
And you got to give your ID.
Right.
And when that first happened to me, I said, why? And the lady said, motherfuckers use this for drugs.
Right. I mean, listen, if you have terminal cancer, morphine is your best friend, right? But you don't just want to go hang out in the living room and take morphine. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
There's reasons for everything.
And what about the crazy stuff about sniffing glue? Remember when that was big?
Oh, yeah, sniffing glue.
What the fuck is wrong with people,
sniffing
man?
paint.
Right. Man, they put this shit in their body, sir.
Yeah, man.
Listen to me. People push shit in their body and wonder why they end up the way they end up.
Yeah.
I told you, the shit don't make sense.
O.J. Simpson recently went on social media, said that he doesn't want to live in L.A. because he might be sitting next to his wife's real killer. Have you ever met O.J., number one?
No, never met O.J.
Never met O.J. either. I will tell you something. I'm going to reveal this because it's probably not going to happen, but I've had discussions with O.J.'s people about doing a VladTV interview. Okay. It's a discussion. I'm not going to say that we finalized it or whatever else. We haven't come to any remote deal at this point, but I now have a direct line to O.J. Simpson, and we've had conversations about it. Unfortunately, one of their stipulations about doing the interview is they basically want to exclude like the 2 years of the whole murder story, essentially, which to me would be somewhat pointless. Right. To interview OJ and not talk about the murder is really not an OJ
But
interview.
You see, with him, say don't talk about it. He will bring it up.
He might bring it up.
No, ain't no might.
He wrote a book, if I did it.
Let me tell you. When I look at OJ, characteristics of a man is not on his best suit. So when you have a man of that nature who talks the way he talks, don't think about what he says, he could say one thing and then get right on air and bring up that whole thing, knowing that somebody signed the contract saying, we can't talk about that. So I have a thing about real men. I have a thing about men who are weak. I have a thing about men who are sensitive and emotional. And that's pretty much why I stay with myself, because I don't really fuck with them type of people. Yeah. So for what I do, I stay out the way so I don't have to say nothing wrong to you. I stay out the way because I know the consequences of my decisions and my choices. Mm-hmm. And it's normally costly. When I was younger, I did things and thought about the consequences afterwards. I just avoid all that. And the O.J. Simpson thing, and to anybody that does crime and you get away with it, the goal is, once you beat the case, is you stay low the fuck key and out the way. And I always bring this example up. My man, not Columbo. He didn't play Columbo. He played, was it Mannix? No. The guy who shot his wife in Westwood. Took out to eat, and he took out to eat. He shot her. He said he left the gun in the car when he went to the car.
I interviewed his lawyer.
Yeah, what's his name?
Hold on a second. Robert Blake.
Robert Blake.
Coldest
motherfucker in the game. And let me tell you why. Robert Blake, I'm not saying he killed her or didn't kill her, but I'm going to tell you what he did.
He got away with it.
Yeah. And Robert Blake, when he beat his case, you never heard nothing from him ever again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you win. When you beat a high-profile murder case, you're supposed to disappear.
Right. You're not supposed to show up at a hotel room with a crew and a gun trying to take back your old stuff, even if you're in the right.
You're supposed to stay the fuck out the way.
Because what he got sentenced for was really a get back for him getting away with, with the Nicole.
Right, because he wasn't supposed to get that much time for that situation.
No, there's people who kill people who got less time than what OJ got for an attempted robbery, essentially.
And again, people, the most prized, the most biggest commodity of your life is time.
Yeah.
Can't get it back.
Speaking of time, I remember you said PPP stands for player last time. One of the guys on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Mo Fame, recently got sentenced to 17 and a half years.
Right. For maybe a month's work of spending money.
Yeah.
You got to be the dumbest motherfucker ever.
If that.
And you bought this stuff during lockdown. We talked about it. Where the fuck was you going?
He was buying a bunch of shit that that was taken back from him.
Yes.
And now he needs to do nearly 2 decades in prison.
And ladies and gentlemen, listen to what he said now. See, Mo Fame also made a deal with the prosecutor, right? He took a deal. Guess what? The judge felt this so appalling, he gave him, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6 more years, 6.5 more years. Gave him 6.5 more years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to listen to me very carefully. There's a thing called hustling and being smart. There's a thing called being hustling and being stupid. That's why people got to use common sense. So watch where I'm going with this, Vlad. The government pulled the biggest heist in known to man, history of man, when they dropped the PPP loan. The coldest heist ever. Because out of all the money they gave everybody, they came up with a forgiveness program.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fill the paperwork right, you ain't got to pay back a dime.
If you're legally doing it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about illegally. The guy, Mo Payne, was a fool.
Yeah.
He could have did this the right way. Let's say that he lied no, he did lie. But let's say you went out and got the employees.
Mm-hmm.
Watch where I'm going now. He got the employees and fired them later.
Oh, that's what he did?
No, I'm saying if Peter did that. Yeah. Because you know who did that? American Airlines, United Airlines, all the big companies in this country who got a PPP loan that the government gave you money to keep your employees working. Yeah. And what did they do? They fired everybody.
Yeah,
and kept the money.
He has been ordered to pay $4.5 million
after 17 years.
No,
he got to do the 17. Then he got to pay that.
Yeah, he's got to pay that back. And he just bought jewelry and cars.
Right.
With that shit.
And here's the thing. What people don't understand. See, ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. When you on probation and you owe that kind of money, they monitor you around the clock. Like it's still going to be like he's in jail to the day he dies.
Listen, he is 38 years old. He's going to get out if he's lucky at 55.
Man, and that's still young. If he takes cancer, it's still kind of young.
But listen, I'm going to say for everyone who's watching this, I'm 48 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I could clearly say my 40s have been the best time of my life.
Absolutely.
My 40s. These young kids are going to say, oh, but 40s, your life is already over. Who cares? No, my 40s We're better than my 30s. We're better than my 20s. We're way better than my teens.
And what did I tell you on the show long ago? If your life's not getting better as you're getting older, something you're doing wrong.
Mo Fane is going to spend his 40s in a dirty prison cell with a bunch of men who are all criminals.
Now, that's Fed time too, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So at least Fed time, he got a little break because the food is different. They have gyms in there for you. And if he has a good lawyer, you can really pick the prison you want to go to.
I mean, how's he even paying for this lawyer?
Most likely he probably got a public defender.
Probably.
Because if you got any kind of money.
Imagine stealing $4.5 million and getting a public defender. Imagine that.
Man.
Imagine that. You done stole
$4.5 and here's the lick, go right? You get $4.5 million. Let me tell you something. If I got $4.5 million off the PPP loan, I'd have nickel and dime that thing for the rest of my life. I'd have got a job. I'd have took 100 here, maybe 500 here, and I'd rather know I got it than to have a car sitting outside that's gonna depreciate, have a watch that nobody don't really give a fuck about.
Yep.
Don't know. To all the material things, ladies and gentlemen, nobody cares.
It's not enough to do prison time over. Listen, I like material shit as much as the next man.
Right.
I'm not going to say that I don't. But
it's nice that you have it.
It's never enough. It's never enough to go to prison.
Never going to go to jail.
I will tell you that. And listen, when I was broke, I presented myself like I was broke.
Right.
When I got some money, I slowly, you know what I mean? Like, I remember the first time I was able to buy some Gucci shoes.
Right.
I'm like, shit, for years I've been wanting a pair of Gucci shoes.
Right,
I finally got enough money. Like, you know, I've been going to Foot Locker buying in the clearance section all these years, struggling, you know, but I wasn't sitting there going like, all right, well, in order to get these Gucci's, I got to do some scams and some crimes and whatever. And you do all that shit for some Gucci shoes? The fuck wrong with you?
Yeah, I got friends in jail now doing 18 years because they stole credit cards and going to the stores just to buy belts and pants.
Right.
And you know how for $18,000, that's what they went to prison for, and they got 7 years for $18,000.
Yes. Think about how much income they lose during each of those 7 years.
Man.
Let's just say they're making minimum wage. Right? You're making $20,000 a year. That's just 1 year of not being able to work.
Right.
Where you just lost that $18,000 that you just gained.
And mentally, that has to do something to you to know you in jail for $18,000. Like, how can you have a conversation with somebody else, right? Because if you love yourself, you know anything about life, and you say, I'm in here for $18,000.
Crazy.
That'll kill me.
Yeah.
That would take my soul.
Kanye and Drake both dropped albums, and they've been beefing with each other in various ways. Mm-hmm. What's your take on that?
It's good for the entertainment industry to have that type of competition. It gets people to pick sides, and I bought both albums.
Yeah.
I bought the Drake and I bought Kanye. I didn't like none of them.
Okay.
I'm being honest. I didn't like Drake.
I like both.
I didn't like them. I can't explain it. I didn't like them, but you got my money. And but competition-wise, I love competition. Yeah. And I thought the marketing strategy was good. I thought the Kanye West thing was strange with the stocking over his face and staying at Mercedes-Benz Theater. Thought that was weird.
That was weird.
All right. I like what Dre did with all the billboards in each artist city that that was on the album. He had a billboard. Right. I thought that was amazing. So marketing strategies, both were different, both got the results, but here's the bottom line. Both of them made a lot of money.
Both of them made a lot of money. Yeah, they both broke records and everything else like that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's fair to compare Drake to Michael Jackson?
Here's the thing, same way they do LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
Okay.
What you have to do in life, and this is what's wrong with the society, you have to enjoy for what they're doing in their turn at bat. This is LeBron's turn at bat. This is Drake's turn at bat. do not compare him to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson in his era, from 1968 until he died, was the man. Drake is the man. And most of these kids ain't never seen Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
They never was around 1968. I remember sitting on the floor of my mother's house when the Jackson 5 was introduced by Ed Sullivan. I was there, saw it, and blew me away. And to this day, at least once a week, I watch that same episode of them singing "I Want You Back" on Facebook to this day.
Okay.
So we, for some reason, I don't know how we got into comparing people from. If you didn't see that person didn't grow up in your childhood, it's not fair to say this person is not fair to say they're just as good as Michael Jackson. Drake is great now.
Drake is great. And I think where some people are drawing the line between these comparisons is, well, everyone wanted to dance like Michael Jackson. Everyone wanted, the glove, the fashion, everything else like that. I feel in general, people don't really want to be Drake.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree with
That's
you
not
saying.
a dig at Drake. I just feel like you don't see people wanting to dress like Drake, get haircuts like Drake.
Michael Jackson.
Drake doesn't dance.
Michael Jackson had people wanting to be him
to
the point they got surgery.
Right. They would get surgery.
They would get surgery.
Who hasn't tried a moonwalk?
Exactly.
Who hasn't moonwalked out there?
Right. That's
Name
true.
one
I think
Drake.
I did maybe a term.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Drake is not an entertainer.
Right.
Like that. When Michael Jackson died and Berry Gordy said he called himself the king of pop, but his real title is the greatest entertainer of all time.
All time.
I still think he holds that title.
I do.
I don't think that Drake entertains on the level of a Michael Jackson.
I agree.
The Thriller video.
Right. Oh, man.
The Beat It video.
Yeah.
And the songs. I feel like when it's all said and done, it's hard to put Drake's best song against
Now, since
Beat
you
It.
said that,
Yeah.
it totally makes
That's what I'm
sense.
saying. It's hard to put Drake's best album, whatever that may be. You know what I mean? For me, I think it's, if you're reading this, I think it's Too Late. That's my favorite album. Other people think Views is his favorite album or whatever else.
Views was nice too.
But
and he has good work.
Yeah, put that next to Thriller, and it's a hard.
Oh, I'm
it's
gonna go deeper.
It's not easy to balance
you can't put
those two.
nothing compared to Thriller
That's what I'm saying.
or Off the Wall.
Off the Wall. That's what I'm
Listen
saying.
to
And
me,
the
Off the
songs,
Wall
and the
album?
songs like that. Yeah,
Man.
yeah,
Woo! You brought goosebumps on me on this one.
yeah. And the fact, how he just changed the visual game of it all. When he made the Thriller video, he set off MTV.
Yeah, he took it to a whole nother level.
He made a movie.
Michael, I remember in Times Square when he dropped Thriller. This is in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, right? 80, 81. Michael Jackson had about 20,000 people in Times Square. This is when he had Crazy Eddie, the stores in New York City, when they had all the TVs facing Times Square and they had everything on the show. Crazy Eddie had Thriller playing on the TV. And the crackheads, the people walking by was literally saying, that motherfucker bad. Michael Jackson had the whole Times Square on lock in the 80s watching Thriller.
When you look at, me and Charlamagne were arguing about this, about who's the biggest artist internationally, whether it's Kanye or Drake or whatever. And there's a bit of a, depending on how you look at it, there's an argument for both. But Michael Jackson was the biggest artist internationally, period.
Oh, there's no doubt
and there was
about
just no argument. There was no debate
no
about
argument.
it. Who's bigger international? A world tour, who's going to outsell Michael?
Nobody. To this day, nobody.
You see what I'm
Michael
saying?
was doing, not arena, what's the stuff bigger than arena? Coliseums.
Coliseums, yeah.
He was doing Coliseums, fuck arenas.
Yeah.
He was on a whole nother level.
He was on a whole other level.
And people passed out when they saw Michael.
Yeah.
Literally faint.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen nobody faint over Drake.
Yeah. Chris Brown people faint over. That's what I heard.
Okay.
But Chris Brown, I think, is closer to a Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Chris Brown
if Chris
was very
Brown, I felt like
talented.
if Chris Brown, and I remember I said this a long time ago, to someone, and they're like, "Oh, you're ridiculous." But I
That'll
felt like
take my soul.
when Chris Brown was starting off, I said, like, if he really focuses and he really does what he's supposed to do, and really looks at himself as one of the all-time greats, he could end up on a Michael Jackson level.
He was talented.
But Chris got caught up in whatever he got caught up with,
Right.
whatever shit
Whatever
he was
it is,
doing.
he got caught
He
up.
was not as laser focused as a Michael.
Right. You got to be laser focused.
Yeah.
And Chris Brown did have that talent. The thing that I do like about Drake, and I give it to him in this era, and he reminds me of Jay-Z in this situation, his work ethic is amazing. Like, I tell people as I travel that every rapper that comes in this game should model their career after Drake. He was focused, he handled his business, and he does what he's supposed to do. He parties a little bit, and he gets the fuck out the way.
Yeah.
You ain't never heard him on drugs. He ain't getting tattoos. He ain't wearing the big diamonds.
He's got tattoos. But
But maybe one. But I'm saying
he got tattoos all over his.
Yeah.
He actually has a bunch of weird.
But you know what I mean? Like, he's really, to me, a nice kid.
Yeah.
And worked hard. And I'm not saying other rappers can't do that. I'm saying work hard, get your money, and get out the way. Don't become an artist to go to prison.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah. No, he's had a run like nobody.
A run.
A
Every
run.
time I turn around, he got a hit.
The greatest hip hop run of any artist, period, is what Drake could claim for himself. The greatest run. You can't. Kanye's had a great run, but not a Drake run.
Oh, not a Drake run.
Not a Drake run.
Drake is really unbelievable,
Drake
man.
is really unbelievable, man. And
I'm going to listen to Views when I get back on the plane. Yeah, I'm going to listen to Views.
That's what it is. TK Kirkland. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Vlad.
We got some possibly coming up also.
Yeah, we're going to announce it right now.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
You want to announce it?
Yeah, we're going to announce it. Listen to me,
announce it.
ladies and gentlemen. February 14th, you're going to catch TK Kirkland and Vlad's going to be my host in Los Angeles, California. Stay tuned. When these tickets go on sale, it's going to be unbelievable. VladTV, Vlad, TK Kirkland. Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say. You know how we move? Demonstration's better than conversation.
There we go.
We putting this together as soon as we get off the air.
Yep. Peace.
Love you, my man.